Welcome to the biggest influences. This is the real Joe Rogan.
It's just a lack of irrefutable evidence. There's a lack of something where everybody could point to it. Like if you say, I believe in the Golden Gate Bridge, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, Howard. It's not a bridge across the ocean. That's so stupid. How would they even do that? And then you take me to the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm like, holy shit, it's a real thing. I see it. But if I had no idea what it was and you were just explaining it to me, maybe I'm a moron. I'm like, I don't believe it. I never saw a bridge.
I've seen a UFO.
But have you really?
Yeah.
What'd you see?
I saw, and I was with my wife, and it was right there. I was driving. I was in Toronto. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I was in my 20s, and we were driving down a country road, and I thought, oh my God, there's a giant accident way up ahead, because I saw this line of like a half a mile wide of all these flashing lights. So I thought it was like a lineup of ambulances or first responders or whatever. And as I got closer and closer, that whole line of lights, quicker than I can fathom, just shot into the sky and disappeared. And I turned to my wife and I go, did you, I saw something. Did you see something? She goes, the lights? And I go, yeah. And we've never seen anything since. We went, this is way before the internet, but we called the airport. We called the military. Has there been any reports? We didn't see anything on the news, but we both saw it.
What could you describe the lights?
A straight line of lights that looked like they were probably, a quarter of a mile wide. Like this was a giant line of lights. So I thought there was all cars lined up, on a road. We were there was no street lights or anything. It was when I realized what it was probably about 30 or 40 feet above the road. When I think about where I first saw the lights, they couldn't be on top of a car because there's no car that stands that high, or trucks or a train. And then the point was that how fast that I saw how quickly I saw this line of lights just shoot into the atmosphere and disappear. Like I've never seen anything move at that velocity.
How far away was it when it shot away?
See, because it was night, it could have been 10 miles. It could have been 1 mile. I don't know how big it was because I didn't actually see the object. I saw a line of lights. Right. So I don't know how far I was from the lights. But I do know, if you called my wife right now, she would describe the exact same thing. She was sitting in the car with me. We're both not, UFO enthusiasts. I don't know that I didn't have a non-belief. I just never thought of it. We saw this weird thing that has never been explained to us. I think it would be ignorant of me to not think that this was something beyond our scope as far as what we have on Earth. So I've seen that. And I've read a lot, like you have, of other people who are seemingly trustworthy, educated people who have seen similar things, who have had, it's not always just the kook in the cornfield said, I saw a UFO. There are people in science, educated people who have seen it. So
fighter pilots,
commercial pilots.
Did you see the most recent one? There was a woman who was a model who was on a plane. Did you see that, Jamie? It just got released today. She got what they're calling some of the most compelling UFO video ever. She's flying in a plane in this silver thing. They freeze framed it. It looks like a flying disc.
A model saw this?
A model. She's just in a plane and filming out the window. And they had seen this thing apparently, and she's trying to film it, and it shoots by the plane.
And I've talked to many pilots who have recounted seeing things and not being able to explain it. It's like, and we just brush that off. Oh, here
Watch
it is.
This. So play this. I mean, what in the fuck is that?
So look at that, and look at that line. It's up on a 45-degree angle. That is, and the speed that it's kind of moving is the speed that I saw something in only at night.
But you have to take into consideration that this plane is moving in a specific direction, and the UFO is moving in the opposite direction.
So it seems faster?
It looks much faster than it actually is. So even if that was like a Mylar balloon, if you're passing it that fast, see that thing, I mean, I don't know what you're getting there. Like, is that distorted? Like when they're showing that image, that to me looks like it's from another fucking world. Like if that's really what it looks like and it's actually flying like that. but I don't know if that's a distortion based on the freeze frame of this. You know, you also have to take into consideration what kind of phone does she have, how fast is the camera, is it able to pick things, because there's things that can happen with artifacts, with digital artifacts, when things move very quickly. You get like weird lines that might not, but that looks very distinct. Like,
but at a certain point,
play it again.
There's been so many sightings. You've got to be an idiot to believe.
It's so fascinating, man.
I love it.
So whatever this thing is, I mean, if I was a cynic, I'd say, oh, it's a fucking balloon. But it is weird because it's not moving that fast. If the plane is moving, it's a propeller plane. Let's say, how fast do you think a propeller plane goes?
90.
So if
100.
that was stationary, now let's imagine the propeller plane is going against the wind. So maybe that thing is going with the wind. So whatever that thing is getting blown with the wind current. So it could be a balloon. So if that thing is going 90 miles an hour, just imagine if you're a car, okay, and you're going 90 miles an hour and you're passing someone that's going in the opposite direction on the other side of the highway. They would probably be moving quicker than this. Let's see that again. Back that up again. So watch this thing. So imagine you're in a car, you scoot along the highway, and there's a car comes around the turn. It goes just like that. It's probably very slow. It's probably not fast at all. And it might even be stationary. It might just be blowing in the wind.
Right.
Because if you picture how fast the plane's going and how fast... Now, this is obviously assuming that the wind is going in the direction of whatever that thing is.
So this came out today. What are people saying about it?
But here's the thing: if it's going the opposite, if actually the plane is going with the wind and this thing is going against the wind, then it gets weird, because then you have to go, okay, well, is that plane going fast enough where it looks like that if it's just stationary, or if it's just fluttering in the wind because you're passing it? So it's kind of tricky when you get that video and you go, oh my God, it's a UFO, look at it fly past you fast. Not really that fast.
Well, more importantly than the speed, that's what I saw. I saw something. For me, it was just lights at night and they moved.
Your thing, but that's
my
different.
Thing, but that's not. But this is something you can't explain.
Sounds like it moved way faster than that.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I've never seen anything disappear like that. And more importantly, I have a witness.
Yeah.
I was sitting there at the same time, and we were driving because we thought it was a big accident. Maybe there was a train crash or something.
Were there other people on the highway?
No, it was just me and her about midnight, and it was in a north of Toronto. We were heading up north, but she'll tell you the same story, and we're both not,
Do you know the Betty and Barney Hill story?
No.
That's an amazing story. It's one of the very first UFO abduction stories, and I think it was from 1950s, somewhere around then. Betty and Barney Hill, I believe they were in Maine, and something happened to them, and they saw something in the sky, and then they had all these terrors and night terrors and like weird feelings. And then they got hypnotic regression, and during the hypnotic regression, they both told a very eerily similar story about being taken aboard this craft, about experiments being done on them, and then being put back in their car and having their memories at least partially erased, and was only accessible to them when they did hypnotic regression. It's very controversial, but it's also like it was one of the very first depictions of these beings that are it's a part of the iconic alien looking thing, like that everybody seems to see, a very similar creature, a very small creature with very big head, very big eyes, and that these folks had an experience with them.
It's more amazing to me that it isn't widely accepted with how many experiences have been written about, have been documented, even by military pilots and Barney and his wife.
Well, don't you think there's more people that accept it now? Like Michio Kaku talks about it now openly, whereas Michio Kaku is a very straight-laced physicist who his entire career has just advocated based on science and evidence, and he's very rational, and he's a great communicator, but now he's turned the corner where he says the amount of evidence that is available, now the side of the critic is the one that has very little evidence. He thinks the side of the believer, there's a vast amount of data that seems to indicate that there's some things out there that we really don't understand.
Except the one question that I have is, why would the military keep it a secret? Like, why would this be a secret, that there are existences of other life? It doesn't make sense to keep it from the public.
Well, I think the same reason why the New York Times thinks that we shouldn't know who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. People that are in control of very dangerous and very volatile information oftentimes feel like the public can't handle it. That's a common theme. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people want to stop even like obvious silly stuff on the internet. You know, like there's people that advocate to stopping people that believe in the earth being flat. Like, well, come on. Like, at what point in time do you just let people believe stuff? At what point in time do you advocate to, like, for the most gullible folks amongst us who have the worst confirmation bias to, like, protect them from information?
Subscribe to Biggest Influences today.